How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 3.
Greetings, conversationalists. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States, and I am delighted to have you with me. 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. Jack Smith is going through his inquisition on Capitol Hill. I don't really think we're going to learn much from it. Everybody other than the Weather Channel is covering it. The Weather Channel is covering that winter storm that's going to impact everyone except for Mike in Orlando. We've got other stuff we have to talk about. Important stuff. So my buddy Drew Holden on what is the hell site? Why is my brain going blank? Twitter. It's not X, it's Twitter. I refuse to call it X. Shall we begin again? My buddy Drew Holden, who has an incredible account on Twitter, loves to point out the hypocrisy of the media and just has this amazing thread about the ICE hoax that the media and others have perpetrated. So here's the story. Just so you know the full story, the left has seeded a fable that ICE agents arrested a father and child in Minnesota. It's not actually the case. The child apparently, I'm sorry, this is the one with the family hit with tear gas, the baby hit with tear gas. Turns out the baby was left in the car while the parents went to protest. And now there's another story out there today that ICE arrested a father and child, and it turns out that's not true either. ICE arrested the father who abandoned his child. So let me read this one. I'm just going to read you the thread from Drew Holden. This is insane. Remember the story of an innocent family hit with tear gas by ICE amid violent protests in Minnesota, and their baby was hospitalized. It turns out the parents went to the riot and may have left the baby in the car. The legacy media ran the fake story. Here's the New York Times. Family says it was trying to escape a clash when ICE agents gassed them. CNN says they were gassed after they were caught in the clash, when in reality they took their baby to the protest. CBS News said the story as if the innocent motorists were traumatized by ICE. The headline, Minnesota couple says ICE released tear gas under their family vehicle with 6 kids inside. ABC News says they were on their way home from a basketball game trying to paint a picture of chaos created by the Trump administration. The framing from the Associated Press is deliberate. No one is safe in Minnesota because of ICE. The headline, tear gas floods a Minneapolis family's SUV after they get caught between protesters and officials. They weren't caught in unrest. The family brought their baby to the scene of the unrest and put her in danger. The parents, with the help of willing stooges and the legacy media, including CBS News, raised thousands of dollars by lying about what happened. CNN posted what alleged to be video the parents filmed of the tear gassing without bothering to check the validity of the source or the details alleged. And NBC News, to the list of legacy outlets that push the conspiracy, you would think the legacy press, so on guard against disinformation, would at least pretend to care before promoting conspiracy theories, but they don't. The New Republic alleged that ICE attacks a car full of kids, which is a blatant lie. The purpose of the stories like this one from Mother Jones is to lead readers to believe ICE agents have wantonly sown chaos in Minnesota. Here's the headline. ICE's tear gas sent a 6-month-old to the hospital, the latest in an alarming pattern, time and time and time again. Democrats also amplified the story, and the story simply was not true. These people are trying to get ICE agents killed is what they're trying to do. Now there's the warrant issue. The Associated Press, breaking. Immigration officials are asserting sweeping power to enter homes without a judge's warrant, according to a memo obtained by the Associated Press. Tricia McLaughlin from Homeland Security notes that they are using administrative warrants. Administrative warrants have been used for decades and have been recognized by the Supreme Court in lower cases. In every single case where the Department of Homeland Security uses an administrative warrant to enter a residence, an illegal alien has already had their full due process. They already have a final order for removal by a federal immigration judge, and the officer has established probable cause to go to the home to get the person because they already have a final order of removal. The Supreme Court has recognized the process. The left would have you believe otherwise. And then there is the story of the alleged father and child who were arrested by ICE overnight. And it turns out that's not true. It turns out the kid had been abandoned by the father. Or there's this. This is Angela also Brooks, the U.S. Senator from Maryland. Our country has lost its moral center. The Gestapo tactics used by ICE reveal their inhumanity and lack of training. The lawless and abject cruelty of the administration are harming our country, making us less safe. I will not support the proposed Homeland Security Appropriations Bill. The White House has responded. 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton, an autistic woman in Maryland, your state, was strangled to death by an illegal alien MS-13 gang member led into the country by Joe Biden. She would be alive here today had the president's current policies been in place, not Joe Biden's policies. This is all sort of what's going on. They amp up the outrage over ICE. The outrage is manufactured and not true. Then they double down on needing to reform ICE. That's their language. They want to defund it and reform it. And they just make stuff up. They keep making stuff up. By the way, I didn't even know Miss Rachel. See, my kids are grown beyond the Teletubbies. And Miss Rachel is one of the Teletubbies, and she is also a virulent anti-Semite and a hardcore progressive. And Miss Rachel amplified the news. This is what she put up on her social media account. A 5-year-old in Minnesota has been detained by ICE after being used as bait to try and lure family members from the home, according to a lawyer. He's now thought to be in a detention facility in Texas, and she puts that up and says, give the 5-year-old back to his family. Cruelty. Homeland Security says ICE did not target a child. The child was abandoned. On January 20th, ICE conducted a targeted operation to arrest Adrian Alexander Caneo Arias, an illegal alien from Ecuador who was released into the U.S. by the Biden administration. As agents approached the driver, Adrian Alexander Caneo Arias fled on foot, abandoning his child. For the child's safety, one of our ICE agents remained with the child while the other officers apprehended the father. Parents are asked if they want to be removed with their children, or ICE will place the children with a safe person the family designates. This is consistent with past administration immigration enforcements. Parents can take control of their departure and receive a free flight and $2,600 with the CBP Home app. By using the CBP Home app, illegal aliens reserve the chance to come back the legal right way. Miss Rachel is more like Miss Reichel with all of the anti-Semitism she spreads as her. And I got to say, I'm creeped out by adults who act like little kids. Always, when I was a little kid, I got creeped out by it. I don't like baby talk. In fact, when my wife and I had kids, I was very clear with my wife, I would end our marriage if she used baby talk. Now, she would end me, but nonetheless. So I might as well tell this story. When I was in college, was in a relationship, and I got the flu. And the person I was in the relationship with, she wanted to make me feel better. And she came to my apartment and sat by my bed and read me Green Eggs and Ham. Not only did she read me Green Eggs and Ham, she read it in baby talk. Oh, you're coming on. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. That was the moment the relationship ended. And I swore there would never be baby talk in my life again. And here is this Miss Rachel woman who is an anti-Semite, who spreads lies about ICE, who acts like a toddler on television, and it drives me insane. I've only started hearing about her in the last year. Actually, the last 2 years since October 7th happened. She came to fame as a virulent anti-Semite who was indoctrinating kids into hating Jews, apparently, or something. I don't know. I've never seen her, but online, basically, I mean, they refer to her as Miss Reichel instead of Miss Rachel because she's so into the anti-Semitism and spreading this stuff online. And I'm sorry, there is a deep neuroses when an adult dresses up like a small child. Take Blue's Clues, for example. What's his name? Never acted like a toddler. He just acted like a friend to the toddlers. Was it Steve? Steve never he never spoke baby talk. Steve was just the older, wiser big brother who was good to the kids. And this freak show comes along and is all about talking baby talk to people. No. You're a nut job if you're talking baby talk to people like that. I do not like baby talk. I do not like it, Sam, I am. I do not like it, no ma'am. I do not want it. Got the raging anti-Semites out there spreading also the rumors about ICE agents out there. I mean, be like the guy from Blue's Clues instead of and then there was what, Steve's cousin or what? Yeah, it was Steve. And then it was Joe and then Josh, the three on Blue's Clues. Steve was the best one. Now Steve is older than me and he's bald. He grew up. That was my nieces loved Blue's Clues. And then what else was there after Blue's Clues? There were other ones, but it was always the adult figure was the grown up. He was never the baby. And then you get this Miss Rachel or take holy cow. Y'all, Fred Rogers. Yes, Mr. Rogers, the model for children's programs. He was never the baby talker. He could relate to the kids. He never tried to be the kid. Be like them, not like this Miss Reichel person. And be honest about ICE. The media, I think, is collaborating with the Democrats to try to get these people killed. They just keep amping it up. They keep throwing these lies out there. They keep misrepresenting the stories. That they would report first and ask questions later, and then they only ask questions to the progressives. They don't ask questions to the people on the right. Think about these ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are American citizens, many of them Hispanic, who joined ICE because they were so tired of their border communities being overwhelmed by illegal aliens. In South Texas, do you know why so many Hispanics flipped to support the Republicans and Donald Trump? Because they all work for Homeland Security. They're Border Patrol agents. They see what it was doing to the illegal aliens were doing to their community. They see it on a daily basis. They're opposed to it. And the Democrats are out there seeding these conspiracy theories. Kudos to Drew Holden for exposing the absolute insane nonsense out there from the media. He does such a great job. Drew Holden 360 is his account on social media. It's so worth following his account as he documents how often so many of the stories in the media are wrong. Here he is pointing out that Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, is saying a 5-year-old child was treating kids like criminals. Something's gone seriously wrong. And he replies to him and says, the father fled on foot. When ICE officers approached him, he abandoned his child. It's just crazy. And he points out the Washington Post social media claims that ICE targeted the father and son. It's actually the Washington Post itself that reports the man abandoned his child. It's just wild to see how the media itself is cooperating with the Democrats to try to get these ICE agents killed. The people who lecture us on misinformation and disinformation are spreading it to harm the lives of ICE agents. Hello there, welcome. Hey, does anybody at the Georgia Board of Regents listen to this program? I got an email from a listener. And the listener says, my kid is at Kennesaw State University in an English class, and this is the assignment. It's a reading response. The following questions are based on the reading. How I Nurtured My Trans Non-Binary Child's Path and Learned to Grow with Him by Rebecca Brenner. Each answer should be 100 to 150 words. Quote directly from the text to support your answers using MLA formatting for all citations. Who is Brenner's intended audience? Specify their likely age range, level of education, beliefs, values, etc. What is Brenner's purpose in writing this article? What is one of Brenner's primary methods of appealing to her intended audience? In other words, Kennesaw State University is making their students read How I Nurtured My Trans Non-Binary Child's Path and Learned to Grow with Him, but backdooring it into an English class. Holy moly. Wow. How I Nurtured My Trans Non-Binary Child's Path and Learned to Grow with Him. That's what they're teaching the kids at Kennesaw State University, apparently, in the English class. So, we talk about backdoor indoctrination through the English class there. Somebody needs to have a word with the English department. Goodness gracious me. Wow. Okay, we got to move on to other stuff. I'll take your phone calls as well, 877-973-7425. First, I got to tell you about our Renai water heater. This may be one of the reasons that I got to tell you, my kid said the water pressure in the showers in the dorm are fantastic there, but she doesn't have my forever hot water heater that I have from Renai, made in the USA, tankless water heater. It's the size of like carry-on luggage. It's not a giant tank. You can ditch your tank. Go to talkingtankless.com, ditch the water heater tank, and get the efficient, always hot water heater from Renai. It's tankless and it works. Renai tankless water heaters, talkingtankless.com. That's the website. These things are made in the USA. They are very reasonably priced, and you will not run out of hot water with them. We don't in our house. You have multiple people taking showers. You don't run out of hot water. Your kids will stop fighting over the hot water in the house. And again, made in the USA. In fact, they're made down the road from me in Griffin, Georgia. They're fantastic. We love ours. I got mine as a customer before being an advertiser. Per usual, I love to tell you about the things that we have found in our lives, and I love having a product that we've embraced in our house now become an advertiser because I love the Renai hot water heater. I've always wanted one of these things, and now I have it, and we're never out of hot water. You will never be out of hot water. Renai tankless water heaters. Go to talkingtankless.com, talkingtankless.com, and thank you, Renai, for all my hot water. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, let's go to the phones. I'm going to start with Gerald. It's funny you should call about this, Gerald, because I noticed this happen in real time yesterday when the signs changed. So go on.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like the day before when they started announcing that there's going to be a winter storm watch, gas prices went from like $2.39 to $2.79 immediately. And I know in the past they talked about price gouging when there's something like after a tornado or something like that. I'm just wondering, with this kind of situation, would that not qualify for price gouging?
So no, it doesn't. And so let me explain this one to you. I saw this happen. I want to say, I guess it was 2 days ago. I saw a diesel price. Oh, you know those drive-by digital gas station billboards and stuff.
Yeah.
I saw the digital price. It went up on the sign. And I was like, wow, I can't recall the last time I saw that. And then I saw the regular gas go up. And what was interesting is it went up and then it went back down, but it was still higher than it had been. So this is why gas prices have gone up. Part of the reason for oil prices going up right now is because of the situation in the Persian Gulf with Iran. As we move an aircraft carrier into it. But the other one actually is the winter storm. So there are a couple of factors I was told yesterday when I started asking about this, and I actually meant to talk about this yesterday, so I'm glad you called on it. One is a couple of the refineries got taken offline for maintenance. They normally go offline in spring before they roll over to summer fuel blend. 2 refineries have been taken offline in the last couple of days for some necessary maintenance. The other is because of the winter storm and going on and moving supplies around the country right now. Winter storms tend to cause these changes, these fluctuations, mostly in natural gas, but also occasionally in the pricing related to oil. But the biggest issues with oil going back up right now are, 1, the situation in the Middle East, and 2, a couple of refineries got taken offline for necessary repairs. There's also a story here. Gas prices in the United States have skyrocketed due to the Arctic front blasting through. The cost of gas futures shot up 50% over the last few days. The surge comes as 100 to 200 million people are cranking up their heat. Typically, this affects natural gas prices, but also this is affecting oil prices as some people use oil blends, particularly in the Northeast, to heat homes. So there is a big impact there with energy prices because of the storm. I actually had no idea that winter storm would impact oil prices. I knew it would affect natural gas prices, but it's affecting oil prices as well. The biggest two, though, are the refinery and the Middle East. But yeah, I saw it happen in real time 2 days ago. At first, it was the diesel price on the sign went up, and then the regular gas price went up, and then the regular gas price went back down, but it was still higher than it had been. It's just kind of weird to watch that happen in real time. Ariana, you're going to be up next on the Eric Erickson Show. Welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. I was calling about your comment about Kennesaw State. I actually went there, graduated in 2016, and my last semester I had to take a literature class to graduate. It was just Literature 2100, and they didn't tell you what this study was. And we get there the day of, and it is Islamic studies, and they gave us the Quran, and we had to read the Quran all semester long.
Wow. By the way, someone who would know just emailed me and said that based on policy, this could be a violation depending on the English course description. There's a requirement that a simple syllabus is provided for public review. And if you pull up the syllabus and this assignment isn't listed, then it can be reported to the university. The English departments at some of these universities are notorious for doing this sort of stuff now. And I have heard that Kennesaw State has serious problems with professors doing this sort of stuff. And between your Quran story and now this one with I was kind of flabbergasted to see this email that some kid is going to have to reply to have to read about how to transition your kid, essentially, how to partner with your child to be a good ally as they transition, and then write essays based on the reading. Good gracious. The backdoor indoctrination. Did you know, by the way, there's a story out that a overwhelming majority of the Ivy League now, basically all but 3 campuses in the Ivy League now, have 0 identified Republicans in the academic profession. They've chased every Republican and conservative off campus, or at least the Republicans and conservatives refuse to answer that they are. And they're happy about it. All these places that champion diversity, notice the diversity is always skin color. It is never ideology. They never, ever, ever want people on their campuses who have any ideological diversity. I'm not surprised it's what they want, but also they're not truly committed to diversity. They just claim to be. They give lip service to their diversity. All right, Arthur, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
So At a recent news conference, our fine president indicated that he would like to see some kind of a comprehensive solution to the current problem with health insurance premiums, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And so I gave a bit of thought to it. I think there is a common sense solution. So here it is. Right now, Medicare covers, about 65 million U.S. citizens, but you have to be 65 years old in order to be able to get it. However, if you are 65 years old and your work history isn't sufficient for you to be able to qualify for free Part A Medicare, you are able to buy in. And I think the maximum buy-in price right now is about $565, maybe it's $585 a month. And then you have Part B that you have to take, which is another $185, and then you have a drug Part D program that you probably have to take, and you have to look at a supplemental or a Medigap policy as well. However, since the most important consideration as far as premium coverage, premium rates are concerned, is age, it seems to me that it would be logical to consider setting up a program where people that were not 65 could buy into Medicare, and they could do some kind of an actuarial study to see what kind of a monthly rate it would take in order for that to work. And if you had to have some kind of a subsidy for people that were low-income persons, then at least what you would be doing is providing a subsidy to a program, a federal program, that would help support that program. Well, and you might even be able to improve those results.
Yeah, I guess, but I think the more we keep people out of Medicare, the better off we would be. Less government health care, the better we would be. And look, the president wants to give health care to everybody, but he also the other day said he just wants to give people payments, which I would prefer. Give people money and let them buy their own health care insurance or something like that. I think we got to be real careful expanding these programs. And I got to let you go there because we got breaking news here. I'll get back to calls here in just a minute, 877-973-7425. William Kelly has been charged with conspiracy to deprive rights, which is a federal crime. You may not know who William Kelly is, but let me remind you who William Kelly is. You hear William Kelly, his loud voice in this right here. This is William Kelly.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No. Jesus would dine with immigrants. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving.
That is William Kelly, who then afterwards did another viral video that says it's time to shut this country down. The republic has effing fallen, and dared the federal government to come after him and dared the federal government to arrest him. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, is now confirming that William Kelly is being charged with conspiracy to deprive people of their rights. It is a federal crime for his involvement in the St. Paul Church riots. A magistrate judge in Minnesota has said that he was not going to allow charges against Don Lemon for participating in this. The Department of Justice today saying that they will still have charges against Don Lemon, and they still will engage to try to prosecute Don Lemon for his participation, which is a great thing. Because Don Lemon, of course, was complicit in these things. Now, that in and of itself is a good thing, and it looks like the federal government is putting teeth into this. And I would just note for everybody here, the state of Minnesota has not only refused to participate in prosecuting the people who stormed into the church, but the Attorney General of Minnesota encouraged it, said it was actual legitimate protest, and even alleged that the FACE Act did not apply. And multiple people came forward with evidence of Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, having wanted FACE Act charges against people who interrupted mosque services. So he clearly does know that it could apply, but he lied to the public and said it didn't apply. Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, is doing nothing to protect the rights of people to worship in Minnesota. The Attorney General, neither the governor nor the mayor of Minneapolis have come out and said that what happened was wrong. Maybe they did. I missed it. But I've looked. I actually have looked to see if Tim Walsh or Jacob Fry have come out and condemned the invasion of this church, and I can't find their condemnations. And I would note that they have been in the media as well in the last few days, and members of the press have chosen not to ask them about this invasion of the church. Now, Amy Klobuchar, you should know, I'm not a fan of hers, but she came out and said interrupting people's right to worship is wrong. She, to my knowledge, is one of the very few Democratic politicians from Minnesota to come out and criticize the protesters, saying they have a right to protest, but their right to protest ends in interference with other people's First Amendment rights. It's insane to me that we are at a point where the Democrats are refusing to recognize people's right to worship. But then look at what they do with Jack Phillips, the baker in Colorado, who, because of his religious convictions, refused to celebrate gay marriage or gender transitions, and refuses to bake cakes to celebrate them. And they've hauled him before courts for a dozen years now, trying to persecute and prosecute him for refusing to bake cakes for people he disagrees with. This is where the left is in the country, deeply intolerant of anyone who disagrees with them. And they mask it up, by the way, and say that they're tolerant of everything except intolerance, and anything they don't like, they decide is intolerance. Happening right now, we're headed to commercial break. I'll see if I can get some clips during commercial. J.D. Vance is in Minnesota right now, surrounded by federal agents. He is taking questions from the press about anti-ICE unrest there, and trying to point out that the ICE agents are doing their job. And I will just say again, and it needs to be said again, Renee Good would be alive today if Minnesota and Minneapolis cooperated with federal agents in removing criminal illegal aliens. Neither Texas, nor Georgia, nor the Carolinas, nor Florida, nor Alabama, nor Mississippi, nor Missouri, nor Oklahoma, nor Kansas, nor most other states are having these problems. It's only the states that have become sanctuary states who refuse to hand over violent, illegal, criminal aliens to the federal government who are having ICE show up. Minnesota is one of those states. ICE would not have been there. The protests would not have happened. Renee Good would be alive if Minnesota complied with federal law and stopped harboring illegal aliens. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is, well, it's too late. I got one more call that I'm going to take from Robert, who's been very patient here. Robert, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for your time and talent.
Sure.
We are orphans here from Marjorie Taylor Greene, so we've got no representative up in Congress, which is more than a little bit irritating.
Yeah.
But under a lot of different circumstances. But can't do anything about that until the primary. But how do or who do we talk to about HSAs? Right now, there is a forced limit on how much you can deposit into an HSA. Even if it's your own money, they say you put too much in, we're going to penalize you, we're going to tax you, we're going to send you IRS audits. How do you stop that? Loudermilk was not interested when we were in his district, but it seems to me that having an unlimited deposit on an HSA would begin to break this lock people have of, I can't afford it.
You know, this is one of the things the president has been pushing is breaking open HSAs. In fact, one of the conservative plans on healthcare is essentially to fund HSAs, and you pay for your own health insurance out of your HSA, because then it becomes highly portable since you're controlling it. You own it, and you don't have to worry about your employer, and you do mass pools of people. Part of the problem that we have, in all honesty, is by getting rid of the prohibition on pre-existing conditions, we've changed insurance into something that's not insurance, which has also driven up the cost. And I don't think we're ever going to go back, because people kind of like the idea of jumping into insurance and having a pre-existing condition covered. But HSAs and the expansion of HSAs and it being able to put more money into HSAs and carrying that over into every aspect of healthcare, I think is a winning idea. And the problem is it is going to have to be your member of Congress who advances that legislation. The president himself, by the way, has hinted this is his ultimate solution is the expansion of HSAs for out-of-pocket. You know, if you paid cash for your health care instead of relying on insurance, the health care costs would go down. I mean, if you want the proof of this, think about pet insurance, that the cost of vet bills were a whole lot cheaper before everybody started getting health insurance for their pets, and now it's gone up. The cost has gone up. And occasionally you can find a good vet who doesn't take insurance and does it out of pocket, and that vet's typically just as good and also cheaper. But this is something Congress is going to have to deal with. And my deep frustration, overwhelming frustration, is that Democrats have been united on government-run health care since 2009, 2010, and the Republicans have never offered a competing plan because they've been scared of getting attacked. And because they've been scared of getting attacked, they offer half solutions. They offer bits and pieces there. And I just think that the GOP is going to have to come up with an actual solution, double down on it, and be willing to lose an election over reform of healthcare. The free market is the way forward to lower costs. Allow the free market to work. But neither Republicans nor Democrats these days are really as committed to the free market as Republicans claim they are. All right, folks, that is it for me today. I'll be back with you tomorrow for Open Line Friday. You guys have a great rest of the day. Stay warm out there.